when my son was on the way, when my son was on the way, there were three groups of people I was afraid to face. Truthfully, afraid to. Number one was my church. I was afraid to look people in the face if I let them down. That's number one. Number two, there was a little sweet little girl that I knew looked at me larger than life, and I dreaded that moment of looking at her, telling her what was going on. But number three, I was Bishop, I was terrified to have to tell my parents. It was the most, man, let me tell you something. No, Greg, my parents live in Vegas. And see, my parents, when I say they're the example of love, my parents, I didn't get raised in a house with the pastor talking about you can't do this, you can't do that. My parents have always said, live your life, just do right. You get what I'm saying? So even with love, I've never seen my dad slap my mom. I've never seen my mom put my dad out. You on the couch tonight. Those are not even realities I've ever been exposed to. So I don't even know how to process women that come from that. Okay? So I'm nervous because when I look at my parents, there's a standard. So now I got to go talk to my mom and dad and say, I got a baby on the way. They know it. I get to the house. My mom says nothing to me. My dad says nothing. Look at me. My mom said, go in the room, take a nap. It was on at their house, and they let me sleep in their bed. I laid down because, man, it was so stressful. I laid down, Bishop, in my parents' bed, and I woke up almost a day and a half later. It was so uncomfortable because I had woke up and my dad was just standing there with nothing on. I said, what is wrong with you? He said, this is my room. He said, I live here all the time. He said, you've been asleep all day. So I'm serious. It was terrible. It's a terrible person. No, seriously. So I'm laying there and my dad and my mom, they sleep on the couch for 5 days, Monday through Friday. I literally lay in the bed for 5 days. Greg, it's time to get on the plane and come home. My mother nor my father have said anything for 5 freaking days, man. Okay? I'm nervous every time this woman cooks something because you ain't saying nothing. I mean, you done did something to these grits and I don't appreciate it. So I'm sitting there. What's going to happen? It's time for me to go get on the plane. And just like parent fashion, it's when it's time to go, your mama going to say, sit down, son. Bishop, this is the only thing my mother said to me concerning this entire situation. She said, son, one thing we know if we don't know nothing else, we know the Lord called you. And she said, the Lord knew when he called you, you was going to do something stupid. She said, but the other thing we know about God is he wouldn't have called you if he didn't have a plan to keep you. She said, but she said, you got to take a test now. She said, this is going to be a test of life. She said, and this is a test that I can't take for you and your daddy can't take for you. She said, if we could, we would take this test. But this is what she said. I said, I want you to hear this. She said, the test or the questions on all of our tests in life vary. She said the questions that's going to be on your test are completely different from the questions that's going to be on my test. She said, and y'all may have to bleep this out. She said, I'm telling you because you my son, don't you let no nigga come in your life because he got a collar or a cross and act like he riding in on a white stallion with the answers for your test. Life is a series of tests, man. And what makes you a champion is not that you win them all. It's that you get the faith to get back up and keep on taking them.